You were once a person who couldn't talk, couldn't walk, and couldn't remember the word for your own mother. And yet, you laughed, you cried, you felt fear and joy as intensely as you do right now. So where did all of that go? Somewhere between the ages of 2 and 4, the lights went out on almost everything that happened to you. Not gradually, not gently. It just stopped recording. You didn't lose those memories the way you lose a memory from last year. You never had them to lose in the first place. This is one of the strangest blind spots in human biology, and you have been carrying it your entire life without ever questioning it. Scientists call it infantile amnesia. It sounds simple. It is not. Here's the part that should stop you cold. Babies are not blank. They are learning machines. A newborn's brain forms more than 1 million new neural connections every second. Infants recognize faces, track voices, form preferences, and respond to pain and comfort within hours of being born. So the problem is not that nothing happened in those early years. The problem is that whatever happened never got filed away in a form your adult brain can retrieve. For decades, researchers assumed this was simply because babies couldn't form memories at all. That theory is dead. Psychologist Carolyn Rovi Collier spent years studying infant memory using a clever method involving mobiles tied to a ribbon around a baby's ankle. Kick the leg, the mobile moves. Babies as young as 2 or 3 months old learned this connection and remembered it weeks later when placed back in the same crib with the same mobile. Their brains were absolutely encoding information, so memory existed. Retrieval is where everything falls apart. Think about that distinction for a second. Encoding is writing the memory down. Retrieval is finding it again later. You can have one without the other. Your brain in infancy was writing constantly. It just wasn't building an index you could search as an adult. Why would evolution design a brain that records experience and then makes most of it unreachable? The leading explanation involves a structure deep in your brain called the hippocampus. This is the region responsible for stitching moments into a coherent timeline. Without it, you'd experience emotions and sensations, but you wouldn't experience them as a story with a beginning, middle, and end. Neuroscientist Paul Frankland led research at the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto, showing that in early childhood, the hippocampus is still under intense construction. New neurons are being generated at a furious pace, a process called neurogenesis. This flood of new cells appears to physically overwrite or disrupt the very networks that would otherwise have held on to earlier memories. The brain, in a sense, is too busy building its own filing cabinet to use it. There's a second piece of the puzzle, and it's even stranger. Memory researcher Patricia Bauer found that the formation of autobiographical memory, meaning memories of yourself as a character living through events, depends heavily on language. Specifically, it depends on narrative structure. You don't just need to experience something, you need the conceptual tools to organize it into a "this happened, then that happened, and it meant this" framework. Toddlers are still acquiring those tools. A 2-year-old can feel an experience completely, but without the linguistic scaffolding to encode, "I was at the beach and a wave knocked me over and I was scared," that experience has nowhere stable to live. So you have two systems racing against each other in early life. The hippocampus is rebuilding itself from the ground up. Language and self-concept are only just emerging. Until both come online together, around age 3.5 on average, nothing sticks in a retrievable narrative form. Here's the twist that makes this even more unsettling. Even after that window opens, your earliest memories are often not reliable at all. Psychologist Elizabeth Loftus spent a career demonstrating something deeply uncomfortable about memory in general, but especially about early memory. Memories are not played back like a video file. They are reconstructed every single time you recall them, and that reconstruction is vulnerable to suggestion. In her studies, researchers were able to implant entirely false childhood memories in adult participants simply by describing a fictional event with enough confident, specific detail. Participants didn't just believe the false memory. Many of them elaborated on it, adding sensory details that were never part of the original suggestion. This means that memory you have of your third birthday party, the one with the red balloons and your grandfather's laugh, might not be a memory at all. It might be a memory of a photograph, or a memory of your mother telling the story so many times that her narration became indistinguishable from your own experience. Your brain cannot reliably tell the difference between something you lived and something you were told you lived. Pause on that for a second. The foundation of your identity, the earliest chapters of your story, may be partially fictional, and you have no way to audit it from the inside. Now, here is where this stops being abstract trivia and starts mattering to you today. You are still doing this, right now, as an adult. Every time you recall an argument with a partner, a decision you regret, a moment of humiliation from last week, you are not retrieving a fixed recording. You are reconstructing it using your current emotional state, your current beliefs about yourself, and whatever you've told yourself about that event since it happened. Cognitive psychologists have shown that the simple act of recalling a memory subtly alters it every time. This is sometimes called memory reconsolidation. The version you remember today is not the version you remembered 5 years ago, even if you'd swear under oath that it hasn't changed. This explains something that probably frustrates you in relationships. Two people can live through the exact same event and walk away with two genuinely different, sincerely held memories of what happened. Neither person is lying. Both hippocampi did their best with incomplete, emotionally colored, narratively shaped raw material, and both brains filled in the gaps with whatever made the most coherent story. So why can't you remember being a baby? Not because nothing happened, because the machine that turns experience into a retrievable story hadn't finished being built yet. The crib, the first steps, the first time you tasted something sour and made that face, all of it happened in full color, fully felt, and then dissolved into a brain that wasn't yet equipped to hold on to it. But maybe the real unease isn't about what you lost before you turned 4. It's about what that says about every memory you have now. If your brain reconstructs the past every time you reach for it, filling gaps with assumption and feeling and whatever story fits best, then the version of your life you're carrying around isn't a recording. It was never a recording. It's a story your brain keeps quietly rewriting, and you are not currently the same author who began it. If you want to keep exploring the hidden stories that your brain is quietly telling you, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. Drop a like if this made you question your own memory, and let me know in the comments which childhood memory you think your brain made up. See you in the next reflection.